Hi Gerald, this is vlog number 6. We're inside a bus because we're gonna go home to Naga. This is probably one of the most impromptu vlogs that I will put up. And the reason for that is that you cannot always be in your room and you cannot always be inside your studio. So I just want to keep consistent and keep churning in these vlogs every Sunday, so here I am. There are three primary stories that I would share with you this week. The first is I decluttered my email. The second is I was able to do the lecture series in my university. And the third is ano nga yun?
The Obnoxious Neighbor.
The third is the story of the obnoxious neighbor, and that's something that you have to stay tuned for. So the first one is I decluttered my email around maybe last Friday. I I made it a point to dedicate the whole day into decluttering my email. What is decluttering? Decluttering is the act of cleaning up space, and in the context of email, it means that you need to delete all the subscriptions that you have that are not anymore serving you. It also means that you have to delete contacts that you no longer contact. And there's a bus moving. Look at that. It's cool. Oh, look at that. All right. You have to delete the contacts that you do not anymore contact. And you just have to make sure that what remains in your inbox are things that you really need. So I did a decluttering, and it feels like you're walking down memory lane because much of the things that you will read in your email is the story of your life. Think about it. If if someone contacts you through email, it means that you have business with him or her that's important enough for you to devote online space to that person. And so, cleaning up my email really felt like um, a story of my relationships with other people, the story of the engagements that I chose in the past, and that I continue to choose right now. And the decluttering part was because much of those past engagements are not anymore true right now. And so I have subscriptions that I did not know I subscribed to, and I needed to delete them. And so I did. And the takeaway from that, at least my takeaway from that, is it feels like a weight has been lifted because it feels like I've said goodbye to things that I do not anymore need. And saying goodbye to things that you do not anymore need, or things that do not anymore serve your purpose, is always a good thing. It keeps you grounded. It allows you to realize that you can do without these things. So yeah, I encourage you to declutter your email as well. The second is I can say that it was a successful lecture series that I had. And it was really a talk concerning or asking all the grad students to give their advice to struggling students currently taking up their masters. And go back to the previous vlog, I wasn't able to say any of those things that I've said in that previous vlog. This is the magic of practicing, you know. You are able to realize the things that you really need to say, so that when it's really go time, you only tell them the essential things that you want to tell them. And I think the thing that I can recall out of the experience was telling the master students some types of philosophies that could help them manage their further studies. I'll tell you two because that it's off the top of my head. I can remember two things. So the first philosophy that I have is the skateboard philosophy. Skateboard philosophy says that um, when you're it was all based on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. That's a PlayStation game, and it says that when you're playing that game, um, you're able to use your skateboard to gain points. How do you exactly gain points? You gain points by doing tricks, and the great thing about that is you can chain tricks together. So if you chain tricks together, it acts as a multiplier. It bumps your score to a higher number. However, if you're chaining tricks together and then when you land and your landing is off, you fall down, the score becomes 0. So the skateboard analogy is a reminder that whatever it is that you're doing, you have to make sure that you stick the landing. It's not important. It's not anymore important that you chain a lot of tricks. It's more important that when you chain tricks, or it is more important that you chain just enough tricks so that you secure a steady landing. Chaining more and more and more and more tricks and then failing the landing won't get you any points. So I think in life we must be able to say, okay, here are the tricks that I'm willing to chain together, and that's enough chaining. I want to land now, and I want to focus on sticking the landing. So that's one. Second philosophy is the philosophy of the orchid. And this is something that I learned from my mother. My mother always had this weird habit of putting plastic orchids beside the actual orchids that haven't bloomed yet. And my mother says that she does this to inspire the other orchids to bloom. So it's as if I can imagine the other orchids, when they see the plastic orchids beside them, they go, "Oh my God, it's time to bloom now! I didn't know that it's time to bloom now." And then, so putting plastic orchids beside orchids that haven't bloomed yet is not a scientifically tested technique to make orchids bloom, but my mother does it, and she brags that in a span of 1 year her orchids are blooming 4 times instead of the regular expected blooming period of once per year, and it's expected to bloom during December. That's why we have the festival called Kadayawan. So the takeaway from this is, you we I'm not saying that settling is bad. Sometimes settling is good. Sometimes you have to decide that, okay, I will settle now. But when you can, if you're the orchid that hasn't yet bloomed, try to position yourself beside an orchid that already has. And maybe that will function as a continuous reminder that you should always better yourself, and it's a constant reminder of the thing that you possibly can become. Okay, so that's story number 2. Story number 3 is the obnoxious neighbor. We live in an apartment, second floor, and the floor is made of wood. And we just received a complaint from the downstairs neighbors that our footfalls are too loud. And so we said to the landlady, "Hey, can we talk about this? We're ready to talk." The game plan is one of us would go downstairs and one of us would walk upstairs so that we could observe how noisy the footfalls are. That was our proposition, but the downstairs neighbor didn't want to talk, and that's not a good thing, because you're complaining, and then when we're trying to figure out a solution, you disappear. Like, what kind of a person are you when you just want to complain and you do not want to partake in creating the solution to the problem? You see, there's a certain responsibility that comes with complaining, and that responsibility is you have to take the effort to be part of the solution. I'm starting to believe that this is a universal thing. There are people who complain and complain and complain, but do not do anything. And I hope that we try to, as much as possible, be not like them. That's it for this week's vlog, Gerald. I'm already at 9 minutes and 20 seconds. I hope you had a good week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.